Today's lesson is called A Scandal in Bohemia. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and we're summarizing a Sherlock Holmes story, or at least a story about Sherlock Holmes written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And gee, what has happened so far?
Oh, what has happened so far? It's kind of confusing, but also kind of fun. Okay, Sherlock Holmes, he meets the King of Bohemia. No one else knows it's him, but Sherlock Holmes, remember, has those amazing observation skills, and he immediately figures out, hey, this is the King of Bohemia. Then the King of Bohemia says, Holmes, you have to help me. A scandal is brewing. I used to have a relationship with an opera singer. Her name is Irene Adler, and she's blackmailing me. I want to get married to the love of my life, to my fiancée, but this opera singer, she's threatening to send a picture of them together to the family of the king's fiancée, and that would just ruin everything. A scandal would definitely ensue. So, Holmes, he gets working, he gets busy, he starts working on the case. He disguises himself and finds a way to become the witness to the marriage of Irene Adler and another man. Yes, Holmes, he works quickly and he's already on, I should say, the inside track. Or is he? Has he cultivated this relationship for good or for bad? We're going to find out by the end of our story. Anyways, it's time for us to get back into things. Let's see Holmes and Watson get to work. Let's see them in action. We'll start to do so right after this.
After assuring Watson that Irene will show Holmes where the photo is hidden, Holmes sets his plan in motion by staging a fight outside Irene's house. He pretends to be badly injured and is taken to Irene's sitting room.
"各位好，第一部分我们看到一个片语 set something in motion， 表示开始进行点点点或展开点点点。例如 The boy pulled the string which set his toy in motion. 男孩拉了一下让玩具发动的细绳。另外，补充与 set something in motion 相同的片语，可以用 put something in or into motion 来表示让点点点开始运转进行。所以可以说 Once John returned, we were finally able to put the plan in motion. John 一回来后，我们终于能让这个计划开始进行。
All right, let's continue to summarize our featured story, A Scandal in Bohemia. So basically, Sherlock Holmes is going to figure out a way to get this photograph so that the opera singer can no longer blackmail the King of Bohemia. And he's pretty sure, he's pretty confident that he can get that photograph. I hope he can get the negative, too. So here again, Dr. Watson, of course, is Sherlock's assistant. So after assuring Watson that Irene will show Holmes where the photo is hidden, Holmes sets his plan in motion by staging a fight outside Irene's house. So that's Sherlock Holmes' plan here. He needs to get that photo, and he assures Watson that he'll get it. Don't worry, Dr. Watson. I have a way to get that photo. So here we've got the verb to assure. That also means to guarantee, to let someone know that you're absolutely going to do what you say you're going to do. You guarantee it. There's no way you're going to fail. So he assures Watson that he's going to get that photo, or at least Irene, the opera singer, is going to show him where that photo is.
By the way, Holmes already has a plan, apparently. He assures Watson that he'll get the photo, right? Wrong. It's more subtle than that. He only assures Watson that Irene will show Holmes where the photo is hidden. Now, how does he know this? I have no idea, but Sherlock Holmes is a genius. Anyways, yes, here, to assure someone is to guarantee something. But really, when you assure someone of something, you're telling someone something with confidence. Okay, you're telling them this to remove their doubts about you because people might think what you're saying could be impossible or hard to do. So when you assure someone that you can do something, they might be doubting you or your abilities, but when you assure them, you make them feel better. You remove those doubts. Now, it says here, after assuring Watson, Holmes sets his plan in motion by staging a fight outside Irene's house. So here we've got this phrase, to set something, like a plan, to set something in motion. If you set something in motion, you start that thing moving. Yes, you set that thing in motion. If you set that thing in motion, I should say, you kind of get that thing going. So he has a plan, and now he's going to enact this plan. He's going to set it in motion.
That reminds me, in my hometown, I knew this guy who worked for the railroad, and he said a man can push a train if it is set in motion for him. If somebody starts the train rolling, then a man can actually push that train. I think he just meant one car, but that was pretty incredible. I didn't believe him that. That sounded very difficult to do. But in any case, if you set something in motion, you start it into action. And here's what he does. He stages this fight outside of Irene's house. Okay, to stage something just means to put something on as a play, for example. You could stage a play in a theater, for example. But here, he's just kind of pretending to have a fight as a kind of distraction or something like that. It's all part of his plan to find out where that photograph is hidden. So yes, he stages that fight. Maybe he pretends to have an argument with somebody and they pretend to hit each other and stuff like that. So maybe the opera singer will be distracted and she'll show him where the photo is and then he can get it.
There you go. So he stages this fight and then he pretends to be badly injured and is taken to Irene's sitting room. Wow, this is even better than I thought. Not only has he cultivated a relationship with this Irene Adler and her new groom, now he's really on the inside. He's not on the inside track, he's on the inside of her house. He's this close to getting this photo. But get this, folks. There's more to Sherlock Holmes's plan, and we're going to learn the next step in this plan right after a break.
Irene's maid opens a window to give the injured man air, and Holmes gives Watson his signal. Watson throws a smoke bomb into the room and yells, "Fire!" In the commotion, Irene rushes to save her most valuable possession, the photo, just as Holmes knew she would.
第二部分我们看到的单字是名词 commotion， 指骚动、喧闹。例如 Popular superstars cause a commotion wherever they go. 高人气的明星不管到哪里都会造成轰动。接着我们看到名词 possession， 课文中为可数名词，指所有物或财物。举例来说 Nate said he's been much happier after giving up his material possessions.Nate 说他放弃物质财富后快乐多了。而 possession 还可以当不可数名词，指拥有。我们可以说 The police arrested Dylan for possession of stolen goods. 警方以持有赃物的罪名逮捕了 Dylan。另外，补充两个与 possession 相关的片语。首先，可以用 in somebody's possession 表示为某人所有，像是 This apartment is currently in my mother's possession.这间公寓目前为我母亲所有。再来，我们可以用 take possession of something 来指占有或获得可以说 Valerie took possession of her new car 2 weeks after she paid for it. Valerie 付清车款2周后就领到了她的新车。
Okay, so far today we've had a fight staged outside of the opera singer's house so that Sherlock can get inside the house. It works. He pretends he's injured and they take him to the sitting room in Irene's house. And Irene's maid opens a window to give the injured man air. And Holmes gives Watson his signal. It's all going to plan here. So he's in the sitting room. And of course, back then, houses did not have air conditioning. So the maid had to open a window so they could have some fresh air. And of course, the man got injured. He'd like to breathe some fresh air. It will make him feel better. And so then, with the window open, Holmes gives Watson a signal. Maybe Dr. Watson is hiding outside in the bushes someplace. So maybe Sherlock Holmes winks at him or something like that. He gives him the signal. And then what does Watson do?
Watson waves back at him. Oh, thanks for the signal, right? No. Next, things get serious, okay? The window is opened. Okay, Holmes gives Watson the signal, and Watson throws a smoke bomb into the room. Seriously, yes, he just doesn't acknowledge Holmes and Holmes' signal. No, he acts. He throws a smoke bomb into the room and yells, "Fire! Fire!" How exciting. Now, how does this work? Well, that's what we're going to learn next. In the commotion, Irene rushes to save her most valuable possession, the photo, just as Holmes knew she would. So there you go. This all makes sense, okay? When the smoke bomb is thrown into the room there and there's smoke everywhere and people are screaming fire, Irene doesn't rush out of the house and to safety. No. She rushes to the photo, which is her most valuable possession. So, in so doing, she leads Holmes right to the photo. He knows where it's going to be hidden. How cool. Now, here we've got the word possession to talk about. A possession is just something that you have or that you own. It's kind of like a piece of property. In fact, in most situations, your possessions are your pieces of property. But here, this photo is just something that she has, that Adler has. Further, this word possession can also refer to ownership or the state of having something. For instance, if you are in possession of something, you own that thing. You have ownership of that thing. But here we're talking about a possession, something that you have. For example, my wedding ring is my most prized possession. If I were to lose that, my wife would not be happy with me.
Your most valuable possession, your most prized possession. I think to a lot of men, their car is their most valuable possession. They just love their car. They take it out every week and go for a drive with it and take it to the car wash, check the oil, make sure there's enough gasoline and air in the tires and stuff like that. So here, of course, because this opera singer is blackmailing the King of Bohemia, that photograph is her most valuable possession. And because there's a fire, Sherlock Holmes thinks that she's going to go right for that photograph to protect it because, as you know, photographs are made from paper and they're probably going to burn in a fire. So she needs to save that photo before it's too late. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's find out what happens next in the third and final part.
The next day, the king calls on Holmes, and they go to Irene's house, only to discover that she is gone. Holmes runs to get the photo, but finds a picture of Irene by herself instead, along with a letter addressed to him. In the letter, Irene says that she had been warned about Holmes and explains how she figured out who he was. She also promises not to use the photo of her and the king unless the king threatens her. Holmes is stunned that she has outsmarted him, the greatest detective in the world. Fascinated by Irene, Holmes asks the king only for the photo she had left behind as payment for his services.
第三部分我们看到动词 outsmart 有智取或比更聪明之意。例如 The police officer outsmarted the criminals to clear up the case. 警察智取罪犯来侦破这个案件。最后我们看到单字 fascinate 这个字为动词，指使着迷，强烈吸引。举例来说 The speaker fascinated his audience with stories about his travels. 演讲者的旅行故事让听众着迷。而这里补充 fascinate 的名词 fascination F-A-S-C-I-N-A-T-I-O-N fascination 有陶醉或对某事兴趣浓厚之意，像是 Timothy has had a fascination with airplanes ever since he was a child. Timothy 从小时候就对飞机有浓厚的兴趣。另外，补充与 fascinate 相关的片语，可以用 somebody be fascinated with or by something 来表示某人深受某事物吸引。所以可以说 The young audiences were fascinated with the puppet show. 年轻观众深受木偶秀的吸引。
Anyways, let's read on. The next day in our story, the next day, the king calls on Holmes and they go to Irene's house only to discover that she has gone, that she is gone. She has vanished. And Holmes runs to get the photo, but finds a picture of Irene by herself instead, along with a letter addressed to him. Like, better luck next time, Sherlock Holmes. But in the meantime, here's a picture of me that you can have.
Ooh, so my goodness, she seems pretty smart there. So, of course, they go back to the house. The opera singer is gone. He goes to get the photo. Well, she's gone, but hey, I'm a smart guy. I know where the photograph is. But instead, he finds a picture of just Irene solo. She's all by herself. There's nobody else in the picture. And there's also a note there or a letter that has his name on it. It's addressed to him. Here, addressed is a verb. That just means it's for him. The letter has his name on it. It's meant for him to read it. And in the letter, Irene says that she had been warned about Holmes and explains how she figured out who he was. So she's not stupid, of course. You cannot assume that opera singers are dumb just because they sing in a way as if someone has just told them that their cat has died or something like that. Opera singers can actually be quite smart. She figured it out, and also somebody warned her about him. They figured out who he was. Maybe they saw through his disguise as an out-of-work groom or something like that. I know who that actually is, and here's what he's up to. So she figured it all out. She knew what he was doing all along. She knew what he was up to.
That's not all. Yes, Irene says all of these things, tells Holmes all of these things in this letter, but that's not all. She also promises not to use the photo of her and the king unless the king threatens her. Now, Holmes, by the way, he's not happy the things kind of worked out. Holmes is stunned that she has outsmarted him, the greatest detective in the world. Yes, usually it's Holmes who outsmarts everybody else. He always wins in the end or carries the day. Well, that's not the case here. Irene Adler has gotten the better of him, so he is stunned. He's shocked. He's bewildered. He's so shocked or surprised by this that he can't speak for a short period of time. He is frozen on the spot. How can she outsmart him, the greatest detective in the world? And yes, Sherlock Holmes, everyone, is a detective. He's a detective. He's a person who investigates and then tries to solve crimes.
Indeed, and I'm also curious as to why she had a change of heart. She's no longer trying to blackmail the king. She's just saying that, well, I'll do something only if he threatens me. So for some reason, she has changed her mind here. But again, Holmes is really surprised. He's stunned that she outsmarted him. She actually knew what he was doing and did something to make him look stupid. And the greatest detective in the world, of course, is supposed to be Sherlock Holmes, but I guess he can't claim that anymore. Maybe the opera singer is going to have a change of careers here. Of course, a detective is somebody who tries to solve crimes. They might be part of a police department, but usually they do not wear a police uniform. And in this particular case, he still is the greatest detective in the world. And fascinated by Irene, Holmes asks the king only for the photo she had left behind as payment for his services. So he's very impressed by this opera singer. He's fascinated by her for many reasons. Maybe he likes opera and he likes the way she sings, but I think he's more fascinated by the fact that she outsmarted him, and he needs to humble himself here and realize that after all, he's not the smartest detective in the world.
Anyways, very simply, if you are fascinated by something, you're very interested in that thing. You're very intrigued by that thing. For instance, I am fascinated by the stories of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. All right, folks, with that, our story for this month is in the books, but it's time for you guys to hear the Chinese teacher, so don't go away.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分的第一句，他提到 The next day, the king calls on Holmes, and they go to Irene's house, only to discover that she is gone. 隔天啊，国王去拜访福尔摩斯，他们一起前往 Irene 的住处，却发现他已经离开了。那这边要介绍片语动词 call on 的用法。好，第一种呢，就是课文的用法。Call on somebody 就表示拜访某人，这个 call 当动词其实有短暂拜访的语义。那我们除了用 call on somebody， 也可以用 call at 加上某个地方。例如 They called at a friend's house on the way home. 他们在回家途中有去一位朋友家拜访。好，第二个意思呢，是指呼吁啊，或是指请求要求。Call on somebody to do something 就表示呼吁某人做某事，请求某人做某事。像是 They called on the government to take stronger measures to reduce air pollution. 他们呼吁政府要采取更有力的措施来减少空气污染的问题。好，那么第三个用法，它是指要求团体中的某个人发言，像老师要叫学生发言这样。例如 Sally was glad that the teacher didn't call on her. She didn't know the answer. Sally 她很庆幸老师没有点到她，她根本就不知道答案。好，课文句子里面呢，还用到一个句型是 only to 加上原形动词，这表示说结果却怎么样，不料怎么样怎么样。那它的用法呢，是要接在主要子句的后面，可以用逗号跟主要子句隔开。那这是用来强调说某个结果出乎意料，或者是令人惊讶、令人失望等等。好，那它的句型就是主词加动词，逗号 only to 加原形动词。例如They walked to their favorite restaurant, only to find out that it had closed down. 他们走去最爱的那间餐厅，结果啊，却发现它已经倒了，早就结束营业了。好，我们接着读到课文最后一句。Fascinated by Irene, Holmes asks the king only for the photo she had left behind as payment for his services. 由于被 Irene 深深吸引，福尔摩斯只要求国王给他那一张 Irene 留下来的照片来当做提供这个协助的酬劳。好，这个句子呢有使用到分词构句的句型。当我们用连接词来连接两个主词相同的子句时，你就可以把其中一主词省略，然后把它后面的动词改成分词形式。如果动词是主动语态，你就用现在分词，被动语态就用过去分词。还有啊，如果不会造成语义混淆的时候，你也可以把连接词省略。像课文的句子原本可以写作 Because Holmes is fascinated by Irene, Holmes asks the king only for the photo 怎么样怎么样。这时候呢，前后子句的主词都一样，都是 Holmes， 那他就把连接词还有我们前半句的主词省略，然后动词的部分它就只保留过去分词 fascinated， 也就是说它把 because Holmes is fascinated by Irene 简化成 fascinated by Irene， 那这就是分词构句咯。好，以上是今天的重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Assure. Joe assured his parents that he would still visit often, even after moving to a new city.
Possession.When staying in a hotel, you should keep any valuable possessions in the safe provided.
Stun. The news of the terrible attack stunned the local community. Outsmart. Some people fear artificial intelligence because they are afraid that one day machines will outsmart humans.
Detective. Holly was adopted as a baby, so when she was older, she hired a detective to try to locate her birth parents.
Fascinate. Learning about his family's origins fascinates Luke, so he is trying to trace his family tree.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Now, everyone, it's time for our discussion starter. Roger, if a fire started in your home, what is the first possession you would try to save?
Well, the first thing I would run for is the computer because, of course, all of my valuable digital photos and videos and things like that are stored on the hard drive. And if the computer were destroyed in the fire, all those memories would be lost in time like tears in rain. How about you?
Well, I wouldn't rush for my computer because luckily I've backed up all of my digital files on the cloud. So I would go for my books and my photographs because, yes, books and photographs being made of paper are not going to survive in the case of a fire. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.